But now, sticking with the post office scandal tonight, as attention turns to why it took so long to act and what Parliament could do to clear or help compensate the victims. Joining me live from the Houses of Parliament on this, Conservative MP Jake Berry. Jake, thanks for making time. Look, when we speak to the victims
of this...
Rosanna. Good evening, Jake. When we speak to the victims of this scandal, when we speak to the reporters who've been working on it, the one thing that we hear a lot is the government did not move quickly enough. What do you say to that?
What I'd say, look, the government, in all fairness to it, has done quite a lot. It's set up a statutory inquiry. We know these things take quite a long time to report. It's made over £130 million, has already been paid out in compensation, and we've heard only this week from Rishi Sunak that new £600,000 hardship payments will be made to all the victims. But I get why the public are so angry about this. I've known it. In fact, we've been discussing this in Parliament quite a long time. It sort of took this ITV extraordinary programme that we saw between Christmas and New Year, I watched between Christmas and New Year, to really help people understand that this is like the biggest miscarriage of justice that this country has seen in recent times. And I think that's why the anger's come out there quite correctly from the British public.
Now, you mentioned the statutory inquiry, and often that raises eyebrows. People say, oh, what do we need? Another inquiry? But ultimately, there's only so many tools at hand to investigate things. However, this inquiry began in 2022. It's going to take until later this year. Some of the people convicted got convicted much faster than that. I mean, what do you say to that? Are inquiries actually fit for purpose in this country?
Well, I think an inquiry is the right way of dealing with this, but I don't think it's what the only government reaction should be. I mean, number one, I'm really pleased that Alex Chalk is looking at how people can be pardoned. It seemed to me like a version of a royal pardon where everyone, the over 700 people who've been convicted for this, just get the records clear, get their names cleared all at once. That seems to me the right thing for the government to do, and I'll be calling on the government to do it very quickly. Number two, there's a lot of compensation being paid out. I don't really see why that should be the British taxpayer paying that, and that's why I'll be calling on the government to get Fujitsu, the company that designed this faulty Horizon software, to stump in some of that cash. And number three, we've seen that Porter Venables today has voluntarily given up her CBE, but actually we need to go further. A lot of senior executives, not just her, at the Post Office and Royal Mail as was before they separated off. They've got massive taxpayer-backed pensions. They've got massive payments when we were in the job. That was when they were in the job. That was for allegedly good performance in the job. We now know that that's not true. So we should be looking to take some of that back, particularly those pensions from those very, very highly paid executives who oversaw this absolute shambles and travesty of justice.
Well, I think if you can achieve some of that, that will possibly be good news for some people watching this at home that were involved in this scandal. In terms of the future for the Post Office, Jay, it often comes under a lot of scrutiny and clearly wasn't in the best hands for a number of years. What does it look like to you?
Well, look, I think the reason this has cut through to so many people's hearts and minds is they know the people who work in their local post office. They go there and buy stamps. A lot of people use it for banking now, and it is a loved institution at the heart of our community. So I hope that this historic scandal, absolutely has got to be sorted out, will not be the death knell for our post office network. Because I know personally my local post office in Helmshire, I know the people who work there, I love shopping there, I do a lot of my banking there, and if we lost that in the village I live in, it would be a huge loss to the rest of the population. And we shouldn't allow this one piece of corrupted software to destroy our much loved post office network. So I hope that the company that runs the post office now, there's one shareholder and that's the British government, will keep backing all of those local post offices, because at the end of the day, they're not at fault for this. It's the management, it's the computer programme and the courts who are at fault for this. So let's not punish our local post offices because of what's happened in this Horizon scandal.
Yep, it's a key point. I live in a small village too, Jake, and the post office is an absolute lifeline. Jake Berry MP, thanks for joining us.